Money-saving tips your grandparents can teach you. While it may seem like a very different world than the ones our grandparents once lived in, and in some ways it very much is, there are still some important lessons that we can learn from the older generation. This is especially true when it comes to money, as older generations were pretty great at being frugal. Typically we all value money even more as we get older, and so who better to teach us some money-saving tips than our grandparents? And make sure to watch until the end for maybe the best tip of all. Never waste a dime. You may consider yourself frugal, but how far does that really go? A lot of us that think we are masters at hunting deals and cutting costs can actually be throwing money away because we forget to add in the small purchases that we make every day. Our grandparents' generation was great at factoring in every cost, and not just the big splash purchases, and that's actually an even more valuable skill today. Whether it's at the grocery store, surfing the web, or browsing social media, we are always being advertised to, and it can often wear us down over time. Small purchases like buying a morning coffee or a candy bar can become really costly over time, and if you are making that purchase every day you are going to feel that in your bank account. Cook something up at home instead of ordering out. It has never been easier to order food with apps like DoorDash, Uber Eats, Postmates, and a whole bunch more. This can really test your resolve, but these services are expensive and can add $10 or $20 to your order. Even if you do go to the drive-thru or end up sitting down at a restaurant, you're most likely eating a dish that would have been way cheaper if you made it yourself. The culture around food has shifted to convenience over the last decade or so, but that has also made it kind of a money pit that a lot of people get caught up in. Try to limit your on-the-go eating as much as possible, and turn it into a treat or special occasion rather than the norm. Instead, try and cook the meals you like at home, just like your grandparents did. You will be absolutely shocked to find out how much money you save if you take a weekly trip to the grocery store and save the restaurants behind for a bit. Make do and get creative. Our next tip is an absolute staple of older generations. If you like the video so far, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Throughout the Great Depression, the term, make do, became incredibly popular amongst the women who were tasked with keeping the home together. If doing so under such stressful conditions was possible, though, there's nothing stopping you from thinking outside of the box before you end up buying something you may not need. Try to get creative when you feel you need to replace something, and see if there's anything you can do in the meantime so you can earn a bit more money first. Making do with what you have instead of going out and buying something right away will make you more frugal, and will make the items that you already own increase in value significantly. Make meat an accent and heap on the bread. Often when we think of being frugal or smart with our money we can have a blind spot to certain things. One of these things is food, which makes up a huge portion of people's budgets and is often not given a second glance in terms of budget. Our grandmas knew how to save on this front too, thankfully, and it all comes down to a few core principles. Making meat into an accent instead of the main part of the dish has been mentioned in dozens of cookbooks from the time, and it is such an effective cost-cutting maneuver too. Meat runs pretty expensive, so adding in things like veggies, potatoes, or pasta can keep your food budget from ballooning in a hurry. Another smart way that our grandmas approached food is to involve bread with the meal. This works because it is so filling and cheap that it limits the amount of other ingredients you have to buy in order to make a meal. Start enjoying the simple pleasures. A great philosophy to take away from our grandparents' generation is to try and enjoy the little things in life. This has many meanings, but this philosophy can also save you a lot of money on the back end too. Social media has made us hungry for attention and validation, both of which can be good but also potentially lead us into trouble. Everybody can probably name a handful of friends who have made bad financial decisions to impress people that don't matter or to get more attention on a social media post. Instead of joining in that behavior, though, try to take pleasure in the small things in your life, and put your time and effort into the things that cost you next to nothing. Whether that be gardening, hiking, or just enjoying your home, separating yourself from the world's noise might even result in some extra money in your account. It's never too late. It's easy to be pessimistic with the amount that you have saved up, but you shouldn't give up because of it. We all start somewhere, and it only takes a little at a time to turn into a lot of money in the following months and years to come. Do things like save your change, put away $1 a day, or really anything that you feel like you can do consistently and that interests you. The people that do the best at saving are those that find joy and value in it, and so try and find something that works for you. You can even do most grandparents' favorite trick and save money up in a jar for an item or expense that you want paid soon. Start exchanging favors. If you know how to paint and your friend knows how to sew, then why not put those talents to use for one another? It was the staple of the times for sure, but exchanging services is a free way to make friends, stay busy, and get projects done fast. Rather than learning how to sew just to fix a pair of pants, try and see if you can swap a favor for a favor with a friend. A lot of us can become frustrated at small inconveniences, and this can cause us to make rash decisions like buying something just to resolve the situation. Instead of risking that, get someone that is confident in their abilities to help them, and in the end both of you get what you want for free. Pay with real money instead of card. This one may sound a little out of left field, but it is actually one of the most useful tips to save money. Swiping a card doesn't carry the same weight as paying with real, touchable cash, and that can make it harder for you to make good financial decisions. So, instead of paying with your debit or credit card, take the money out of the ATM and use that instead. That way, the next time you go to spend money on something you will have to physically weigh it and feel the money leaving your possession. This can often help people from making splurge purchases, as well as recognizing when they are consistently spending money on the same thing. It may not seem like it'll make a difference, but as human beings we are much more likely to learn something if we can physically interact with it, and so give it a try and let us know if it works. Plan things out in advance to save you money later. A great piece of advice that will save you a headache later is to plan things out days or even a week in advance before doing them. Whether it's a grocery list or an itinerary for a day trip, this is going to save you a lot more money than you ever think. When we do things in the moment, we tend to go with the flow a bit more, which is great until you realize this can also mean big expenses too. If you plan things out, though, you will be more confident when you get to the event and less likely to spend money on things outside your vision. This tip is just a simple and effective way for you to fiscally hold yourself accountable, and is particularly useful for people struggling with self-control and impulse buys. Find the right stores for you. It's not uncommon for people to drive all over town in search of the best deals, but if you're doing this 2 or 3 times a week, it's hard to say that you really are saving much money. Instead of wasting all that time and energy, try to find a few stores that you know have a good price on staple items. Being confident that you are getting a fair and honest price on something will be much more satisfying than hunting down a 40-cent discount that took you hours to track down. And that just about wraps things up on some of the best money-saving tips your grandparents can teach you. Do you think that our grandparents were so frugal from the era they lived in? Or do you think we will get that wise with money as we get older too? Leave a comment down below letting us know what you think. And if you learned something from this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more videos like this one.